We are honored to have in studio Governor Jeff Colyer, or Dr. Jeff Colyer, however you want to say it, Governor Jeff Colyer, who is running for governor again in Kansas and is taking the lead on a lot of issues. He was Trump's campaign guy for 2024 in the state of Kansas, Kansas chair, and he's been governor, and he has spotted a story at Kansas State, or a thing taking place within the Civil Rights Department, the Office of Civil Rights in Title IX, that is just beyond belief. There's a far-left extremist named Darren Borders that works at Kansas State with ties to a Marxist group that has declared no sympathy for dead Jews. This is unbelievable. Governor Colyer has put a statement out, and he joins us now. Governor, how are you this morning?
It's always great to be with you, Kevin. It's great to see you.
Have you been in surgery this morning?
I had a little bit of surgery today. I still do a little bit of my trauma work. I'm just on call for a couple of the hospitals here to cover trauma for folks. And then I do my political work and some other things as well.
I texted you early knowing you'd be up saying, hey, can you come on in the 10 o'clock hour? I didn't think you'd be able to make it in person, but you did, and you're in your scrubs. I like it.
Yeah.
It's a good look. I need that for Halloween or something.
I'll get you a pair. I'll get you a pair.
I get my own scrubs. What the hell's going on at Kansas State? How did this dude get hired, and how is he still there?
Well, that's exactly my question is, how does this happen at a state school? So here's the lay of the land this is a person who was at Cornell, who is an avowed Marxist, who made all sorts of inflammatory statements, and it is reported in the newspapers that they were even suspended because of their anti-Semitic activities on campus. So this is, when Jewish kids have been, are being assaulted and targeted. Okay, there's supposed to be an office where you can complain. So guess what? He moves to Kansas. So this is not a Kansan. He, certainly doesn't have Kansas values, there, and ends up being in the Office of Civil Rights, Title IX, to protect vulnerable people. And this is a job where they actually have their title is, they're an inspector and an investigator for that. And the other members of the office, all their backgrounds are in criminal justice and social work and, working with people in this. Not this guy, okay? This is a guy, with a degree in French and linguistics and stuff like that, and is working on, Marxist ideology as his PhD. But the real thing, though, is, we have ordinary Kansas students that need to go to school, and when they have a problem, particularly a Title IX problem, they need to have somebody who will listen to them, care for them, share their values, and be their advocate. How can a Jewish kid do that if something happens?
So if a Jewish student is walking across campus and somebody just verbally assaults them and says something horrible to them and they feel threatened, this would be the office where they'd go, and they could potentially go to this person who's an avowed Jew hater to decide what to do?
Yeah.
I mean, that's immediate termination. Is it not immediate termination?
It's shocking. Okay. I always do things in fairness, and I think the university should investigate the situation. This is what is reported in the news media in Cornell. Cornell had actually suspended this person, according to the news media. But if all of these things, or even one piece of this, is true, how did this person ever get hired in the first place? And they should be immediately terminated. Kansas, we've got great people. There are lots of people that are qualified for this job, that would be great advocates, for students. Let's deal with a Kansan that can help our kids.
It's only my common sense instinct, but my common sense instinct is somebody that hired him wanted him there, that this is exactly what they want in this position, that there's somebody else. Could it be deeper than just this one person?
I don't know. And that's why we need to get to the bottom of it. There needs to be an investigation and understand, what happened. Is it that somebody just didn't do their due diligence, which is a real problem? Or is it somebody that actually wants to push this anti-Semitic narrative and, push, this anti-Jewish
But
theme?
there's Facebook posts. Everybody that gets hired, I would think, at Kansas State University, they do a very simple social media background look, don't they? Isn't that part of the requirement of being somebody who hires at K-State?
If you're a state employee, I think they ought to have a reasonable background check. That hasn't always happened with state employees. And so, we need to make
this is public information. Facebook, it's just public stuff.
Absolutely.
He's just throwing it out there to the public. This is not digging into some criminal background or trying to find out if he's divorced or, what his sexual orientation is. It's nothing like that. It's things that have been posted.
Yeah. And this is something that needs to be dealt with right now. And, I'm calling on, the university to go inspect what's going on. If what even the barest reports are true, then they should follow their policies. And clearly their policies would not accept somebody like this being the protector of students who feel vulnerable.
It's a 90-10 issue for you or more, 99-1.
Yeah. No, this is just craziness.
It is.
For K-State, every man's a wildcat, right. Except Jews or except, who is it? I mean, what is going on here? It's outrageous.
It's funny. My whole life, I've heard Democrats say that Republicans hate Jews or whatever, that we're the party. I'm like, honest to God, until the last few years, I didn't really know there was a lot of anti-Semitism. I mean, I figured there was in the Middle East, but I didn't know there. Is this new in our culture, these Democrats, these far left people that hate Jews? I don't remember this before.
They're coming out all over. I don't know where they're coming from.
Why is this okay all of a sudden when for 75 years in this country we've been like, no, these are our friends. They're protected, and we need to help them.
Absolutely. This is America. This is every person is an individual that is respected with dignity and has a future in that. And hate has no place in this. Everybody should be even Steven on this. And this is just one of those crazy things that this DEI stuff just leads to.
Jeff Colyer is running for governor in the state of Kansas. His website is Colyer for Kansas, Colyer.
It's actually Colyer for governor.
Colyer for governor. I'm looking right at it. I'm seeing the state of Kansas. I see it's a beautiful little artwork of the state of Kansas. ColyerForGovernor.com is the website if you want to go check that out. You were Trump's campaign chair in Kansas 2024, and you want to redistrict Kansas. Wasn't this done once before to help District 3 here, and it failed?
Here's what's happened is, the most recent elections, the Republicans won nationally by about 3.5% in the House, okay? And yet we only have a couple of extra seats. And that's because a lot of these districts have all been, particularly in places like California, Massachusetts, has no Republicans in it. Illinois, and if you see their maps, they're crazy. Even after Texas redistricted, those other maps are insane, okay? But here's the thing, is your representative is supposed to represent the values of your state and your community overall, and they're supposed to represent us. And when these maps have been drawn in a way that puts the Dems in the driver's seat, that's craziness on it. So we have to respond. And so I think Mike Kehoe is doing the right thing. And, that's what a governor does. You lead from the front. And I really respect what he's doing in all of this.
So how do you know you don't goof up? Do you have a map yet? Is this thought through? I mean, we got a huge swath of Democrats right here where we live. Johnson County's getting bluer every day. Wyandotte County's always been blue. How do you redraw the thing? You tie this thing in with Great Bend and Goodland, or what do you do? How do you do it?
That's why you have a legislature, and there's a lot of discussion going on in the background about how best to do this. But I want to point out something else, which is, when I represented a swing district in both the state's House and the state Senate, and I would have Kathleen Sebelius get 53% of the vote, and then Dennis Moore would get 52% of the vote, and I'd get 63% of the vote in the exact same precincts there. Those were, what was happening then was messaging and other issues there, and I think with the right candidate and with the right map, that is more representative. If Johnson County has a couple of representatives in the U.S. Congress that represents it, then we have more clout. That those problems get addressed better. But the real thing is, we're as a state, and our Republican values as a state, we need to put them forward.
Do we need somebody with giant name recognition in this district to win it? Like
I
a
think that
Dayton Moore or somebody like that?
It helps. It certainly helps because you got to have name ID to win the district. You have to have a good campaign organization, and you have to have the values and ideas that people really want to hear, and that people want to trust you. And that'll be the right. There's got to be the right candidate. I don't know who that right candidate is.
I know who it is. It's probably 10 years away. It's Harrison Butker. That's who it is. Okay, we can get Harrison Butker to. I don't know if he lives in District 3 or not. I don't know if he lives in Missouri or Kansas. Honestly, don't know. Mark, do you know? He lives in Lee Summit.
Yeah.
Harrison, come on over.
Yeah, come
Let's
on
go.
over. The water's warm.
You can run over there, too, and take Cleaver's seat. That's fine, too. That's good. It works either way. He'd win anything that guy did, he'd win.
Oh, he's
Don't you
great.
think?
He's great. And, just every time I've talked to him, he's just been fantastic.
He is fantastic. Okay, how's the campaign going? You're going to have a busy year and a half here coming up. How do you organize something like that, get it going? It feels to me like you're doing more or making more news or out front more than the other candidates. Do you feel like it's going that way for you?
That's who we are. When you're a governor and, you've done well. When I left the governorship, there were more Kansans working than ever before in the history of the state. I'd fixed the state budget problem. The culture of life was on the rise. I actually fixed the school finance problem. For the first time in 50 years, I was the one who actually signed the bill that funded the first 4 years of Laura Kelly for K-12 education there. We were fixing problems and fixing them well But like President Trump, when you've been out for a while and you get to think about it, when you come back, you don't have to just do one or two lame things, to get your name ID. You don't have to figure out where the bathroom is. You can hit the ground running on all fronts. And that's what Kansas needs. Kansas has been going backwards. We were starting to move. We're starting to get in the right place. But this needs to be a place where our kids want to stay. It's a great place to have a business. We need to increase wages across the state. We need to lower our tax burden. Property taxes, income taxes, all of those. We're just taxed too much. Since I left the governorship, the state budget's up almost 60%. It's craziness, and you didn't notice it. One of the other things that we did as governor and lieutenant governor is we actually eliminated 5,500 unnecessary state jobs, about 20% of the workforce, and nobody noticed. Right. Well, guess what? Laura Kelly's been adding in hundreds. There's actually a couple more thousand people there, and your life isn't any better because of that. We need competent conservatives who win and who can get the job done that you can trust will actually get the job done.
I hear you. Will Trump endorse anyone in the primary, or does he wait until somebody's running for governor to do that?
That'll be up to the president.
What's your hunch?
My hunch, I don't know what my hunch is.
He'll stay out?
He's really busy right now.
It's a crowded field, too, right?
And it's a crowded field, and things are kind of sorting themselves out. But I know the president is very, believes in Kansas. When I've talked to him, he would go, "I love Kansas." What a bad impression. I'm sorry about that.
He won Kansas. That's why he loves Kansas.
Yeah.
It's great.
But no, he likes the Kansas values. It's important that we
What
win
about
there.
Andy Reid? Will he help you?
Andy's got to go win Super Bowl for us, and we'll see where he is. He was very supportive. He was very supportive of it. And
did he not? Yeah. Okay, so he was asked questions about doing fundraisers for you.
Yeah, he did
before,
he did a fundraiser
and would do
for
those.
me.
Did that make him uncomfortable? Did he say afterwards, "Hey, I don't know if I'll do this again"?
He was very comfortable.
So will he do it again? You think?
I'm not. I haven't asked him. I haven't spoken to him yet.
Okay, but this could be before next season. It could be like next summer. He's got some time.
Hey, Andy Reid is an icon and a great friend. Okay, and when I had my cancer diagnosis, Andy called me. I respect him, and I've learned a lot from him about how to win, how to put together a winning team, and all of that. And I respect him for that friendship.
Let's get him on a TV ad for you. That ought to do it. Him and Mahomes standing there. Mahomes lives in Missouri. That didn't work. That'd be pretty good. Governor Colyer, I think you'd have something there. I'm not trying to be your campaign manager. I just know Andy can win the thing. It's great. So,
no.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Thank you very much for this important story. I think my phone, when I did this as my lead on my podcast today, and the second the podcast goes up at like 7:30, people start listening. My phone just blew up.
Oh, yeah.
And most of them are like K-State people, but it doesn't matter. I did a couple things last week about KU. We've done some things on MU. When these schools do wacky stuff, people who went to school at these schools or that live here hate this.
Oh, it's
they
insane.
hate it. Like no other issue. They hate it. They're so embarrassed by it. They're like, we don't want to be these New York schools. We don't want to be Harvard. We want to be better than that.
Absolutely. You know, we have dignity for everyone. You know, we love everybody. Every man a Wildcat.
Yeah. Good for you. Great story. Governor Jeff Colyer joining us in studio. The website, again, is ColyerForGovernor.com. That's ColyerForGovernor.com. Good luck to you, sir, and thank you as always for your time.
It's always great to be with you, my friend.
Jeff Colyer, right here on KCMO Talk Radio.